Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we always love talking about talent, engagement, retention, attraction, so much more. That's why we're honored to have with us Janet Meek, CEO of JSM Associates. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jeremy, for having me today.
Well, when you talk about talent, there's a lot of fun conversations around engagement, retention, attraction. But let's start with your background and what led you to launch the company.
Well, Jeremy, I, for the past 30 years, have been primarily in the staffing and recruiting industry, all aspects of it, lots of sales and marketing development, lots of small business consulting. And about 5 years ago, got frustrated with corporate and said, there's got to be a better way. And that's when I launched JSM, and knowing that there has to be a better way, just not quite sure how. Took me almost 4 years to really develop my new service offering, which I call the TSP model, which is Talent Services Provider. And what that does is that actually provides small business owners with a comprehensive approach to, first of all, designing what the position should look like, what the company should look like, from their core values, from their core functions, designing positions, designing the organization, and then going and finding those right people, getting the right people on the bus in the right seats. And then we put programs in place to keep them there and keep them engaged.
Just like you're talking about, there's a lot to it. It's not as simple as, let's just go find a person and throw them in. It's, the cultural fit, but just like you're talking about, the job description, it's a matter of, okay, well, once you have them in, onboarding, how do you engage them to retain them and develop them? And so I think, to your point, taking a comprehensive, holistic approach, especially to small businesses that don't necessarily have the time to say, okay, we need help. We need help in a lot of ways. Can you help kind of navigate this so that at the end of the day, we end up with the people who are going to help us thrive? And I think that's exactly what you're talking about, is coming in with a model versus a, quick silver bullet try to fix.
Exactly. And right now in today's market, small business owners don't have a resource like that. They either are stuck with what they have internally, if they have some internal talent, or hiring, HR professionals in, or relying on third-party recruiters. And neither of those three really provide them what they need. And that has been my approach to all of this, is really providing that comprehensive solution.
Let's back up and look at where we are in the mix of talent, because you are seeing a lot of opportunities and challenges on that side. And for companies to know, okay, here's what's going on in the talent landscape, highly competitive, how do I create success and opportunities? Where do you start to kind of put your pulse on where we are within this landscape of talent?
After being in this for 30 years, for the last 5 years, all I can tell you is it's totally unpredictable. I could tell you what the market trends were and where it was going. 6 months from now, there's no telling where it's going to go. But at where we are at the moment, and my core beliefs and where it boils down to is within your own company. Fully designing that position so you know exactly what you need, how you need it, when you need it. A 360 approach, not just the skills, but the attitudes, aptitudes, soft skills, all of that you need for your position. Because the more you know what you're looking for, the easier it is for you to find it. Then it's really understanding your corporate branding, your employer branding. We spend a lot of time worried about how we're branded and how we market for marketing our product or service, but we don't spend a lot of time to know how are candidates perceiving us. That is candidate marketing and, and employer branding. And really understanding what value do we bring? How do we attract that top talent? And, and that's and a lot of companies will look at it and go, I'm just a small business. I don't have a lot to offer. And that's not correct. You always have something to offer, whether it's culture, whether it's being able to give a flex schedule, something. You've got a lot to offer, but it's understanding that and portraying that in all of your communications and in attracting that talent.
You're already listing off some of the things that you're looking for, but when you're stepping in to a business and saying, okay, let's start putting, a good job description together. Let's
Mhm.
start putting your best foot forward. What are the things you're looking at? What are the questions you're asking so that you can get an assessment of how do I really step in and create this model for success?
If you're creating the position, go back to the core functions of the company. I can give you a case study. Several years ago, I was working with a small financial firm. A couple of partners called me up, said, "Hey, I need an administrative assistant." Found an administrative assistant from what they thought they needed. 3 months later, she didn't work. Let's find somebody else. 3 months later, she didn't work. Finally, I'm like, no, 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 time out. Let's get around the coffee table, get around the conference table. And I had them throw up, because I knew they've been working with a business coach, throw up your actual business model and the core functions of your company. And they threw it up and I said, okay, out of this, what do you want to hand off? What is it really going to benefit you to hand off to someone else? And we went through the list. Well, this. And I'm like, guys, this is an administrative assistant. This is a client services manager. Give me 24 hours. I pulled together a job description. Here's where we're going to find them. Here's what it's going to cost you. Here's an average salary. Is this affordable? Yes. Let's go. Found the perfect person. I think she's still with them today. And the next year they called me and said, our business just grew 30% this past year because we put the right person in place.
Touch on engagement, because it's one thing for you to use your network, to find the right person, to have the right description. Just like you say, half the time they might not even know what they're looking for. And so creating a realistic look at, okay, here's exactly what you need so we can find and fulfill that need, but find the right person. But then talk about engagement, because then it's a matter of how do I keep the right people in these positions and also equip them, empower them, develop them for the future, especially as these companies continue to grow, which obviously is the goal. So talk about the engagement side, which is something I think that you do differently.
Exactly. And Jeremy, you're exactly right, because the only way our companies are going to grow is if we keep the right people engaged and in those positions. We're not growing if we're continually refilling positions. Growth comes by adding new positions, and we keep those people there by providing them opportunities, by creating those communications, making sure that we're staying competitive in the pay rates, so that when that other company calls, they're not going to recruit them away for, a few $1,000s more a year. But really spending the time to understand, where do you want to grow to, and helping them get there. I've got a client right now that we're actually building a career ladder internally, so that it's a clear path, so that they know, okay, well, I'm here and I want to go here. And for me to get there, here's the certifications, here's the skills I need to learn to get where I want to go. And if I'm providing those, that's going to keep that engagement. And it's about building the culture, because, what is it? Culture eats it for breakfast, and it's keeping that culture, because we keep our people engaged by providing that opportunity. They want to work, but we have to provide that opportunity for them to work without being overstressed, overtaxed, and providing that opportunity. There's a local company called the Work Institute, and for the past 5 years, they've done an annual retention report. And looking at it, it's not the salaries that they're losing people for. It's the opportunity for growth. It's the manager, making sure our managers are managing for the growth and keeping those one-on-ones. I'm a firm believer in stay interviews. Once a year, just sitting down and going, Bob, why are you still here? Basically, what is it that keeps you engaged? What's working? What's not working? What do we need to change? But continually keeping abreast and knowing what's going on with your people.
Yeah. I mean, just like you're talking, Culture trumps strategy. And when you
Yes.
talk about taking care of your people, investing in them, caring about them, taking the time to, talk to them, why are you staying? What do you like? How can we, really continue to evolve and continue to grow together, but give you those opportunities to really grow, mature, and thrive in these leadership roles. And like you mentioned too, so many are coming in wanting to know, okay, communication, leadership, but what is my path? What is my ladder? And I think for a small business, you might struggle with that, but that's exactly where it's like you can come in and help. And like you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of benefits that small businesses can offer, especially with a variety of tasks and leadership opportunities and volunteerism and things like that, that you really might not even think about, but those can become really powerful leadership and growth opportunities and build out a ladder that may be more flat, but still has those enrichment opportunities that people are looking for that will keep them long term.
Yes. And also, people want to work for companies that they believe in.
Mm.
They want that mission. And if you're not sharing your mission and your passion for your company and what you want your company to be out there in the world and the difference you want to make, then they're not engaged. They need to know how they're contributing to that and what that looks like in the world.
Yeah, I mean that right there is music to our ears for sure. That's City Current right there. Power the good, and you have to lead with purpose. And so I love it. Tie that into some of the other things that you do different, including chief talent officers, fractional chief talent officers stepping in and really helping on that side too.
Right, and that's why the TSP solution is a broad approach to it because it comes with a fractional chief talent officer that's going to sit down and on a strategic level and say, okay, what are we looking at this year? How do we do this? And every month we're sitting down to go, what's happening? Are you bringing in new clients? Were we looking to grow? It's helping to build that pipeline of candidates so that you are able to go after the larger clients because you now know, hey, I'm going to be able to really, I know we can handle these larger clients because Janet's team's going to find the right people for us. And so, and there again, what does the organization look like? If we need to create an executive level position, what does that really look like as far as where the company is growing to and how that position supports the people that are there and takes the things off of their plate that they may not have time for or maybe is not their specialty. How do we create those? And that's the fractional CTO does that, is coming in and helping design and build a strategy for how we're going to do this. Then we have the recruiting services, which is really being strategic and focused on recruiting for the client, not like the typical third-party recruiter that's getting as many candidates, as many job recs and throwing it against the wall. No. We're out recruiting for you for those positions, building that employer brand from the very first conversation, bringing that top talent to the team. Then we are constantly monitoring the turnover, doing exit interviews to understand why we're losing people, and helping also doing stay interviews and employee engagement studies and different programs, and looking at where's our workforce coming from. Do we need to develop new programs because there are certain industries out there that we do not have enough people, and so how do we build an apprenticeship program, an intern program, to bring some of those people in, or how do we get involved at a high school level to get those seniors interested in, being an attorney, being an engineer, or getting into construction and working construction crews? And helping that small business with the different programs that exist in our local communities so that we can go back and understand how we're building that workforce pipeline.
Talk about your geographical footprint being Middle Tennessee based, but the ability to really work all over the nation.
Yes. And the the furthest client I've worked with over the years was actually in Australia and helped them build their U.S. footprint here. So even though I do like the personal approach and like the personal interactions and being in my clients' offices and working with them closely, there's a lot that can be done virtually. And so therefore my team's not really limited to the local market, even though that's organically how it's growing, because that's where I'm from, actually native. And so it's, I've got a pretty large network here locally.
We're talking with Janet Meek, CEO, JSM Associates, and wrap up with contact information. So for those who want to learn more and reach out, how do we connect?
The website is jsmassociates.biz, B-I-Z. And you can find me at Janet at, and or go through the website. There's a contact page there, or find me on LinkedIn.
Well, that makes it easy. Well, Janet, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.